Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Alex, and today we're talking about the NFL playoffs. I know, it's only September. I know, why are we talking about the playoffs? I'm talking about my playoff predictions and who wins Super Bowl 60. Now, I am recording this the day after the season opener between the Eagles and Cowboys, which, side note, hope you all enjoyed that game. What a ridiculous, wild game. I mean, that game had an ejection right from the start, a bad injury on the opening kickoff. I mean, and then the game got suspended for an hour. Now, that was really weird. But, you know, the NFL's back. But I'll tell you what, that game didn't do too much for my playoff predictions. So I'm sticking by it. I didn't make any changes. So yeah, who do I think wins Super Bowl 60 from before the season starts, let's talk about it. So here's the field that I predict this season. Both conferences represented, the AFC on the left, the NFC on the right. These correspond with the records that I picked for each team in my division previews over the last 2 weeks. I've put them together in a bracket, so this is what it would look like, accounting for tiebreakers and everything. For example, Kansas City beats Buffalo in the regular season according to what I have predicted in the regular season. So Kansas City would get the 2 seed in the AFC. Same thing goes for Tampa beating Detroit in the regular season, therefore putting them at the number 2 spot. Anyways, I want to let you know that before I bring the camera back, because as you can see, I have that 13-4 for Philly blocked. But there you go. That's the field. That's the field that I have. So let's go ahead and start with the AFC. I think the AFC playoff bracket ends up looking like this. Baltimore getting the bye. Kansas City, Cincinnati in the first round, that 2-7 game. Buffalo, Denver in the 3-6. And Houston, LA once again in the 4-5. So 2 wildcard weekend rematches from last season. And we're going to start with the one in the top left. The rematch between the Chargers and the Texans. I think that the Chargers, especially if this is the matchup that they get again going into the playoffs, I think they're going to have a huge chip on their shoulders, especially after the 2024 wild card game against the Texans went out. So I think the Chargers actually get the Texans this time and move on to play Baltimore. Moving on down, we come to another rematch from wild card weekend last year, the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. This, I feel like, is going to have a similar outcome. I think the Broncos are going to be much improved, but they're going to have to go to Buffalo, and I just don't feel confident enough to pick against the Bills in this situation. So I'll take Buffalo to beat Denver in that 3-6 wildcard game. And then as for Kansas City and Cincinnati, I feel like the Bengals will be happy if they even get here with the way that their defense looks. And I think that Kansas City will find a way to steamroll the Bengals if they get to this situation. So that's how I have the wild card games looking out. So when we move to the divisional round here, Baltimore and Los Angeles. Lamar Jackson's first playoff game after he came off the bench in 2018 was against Phillip Rivers and the Los Angeles Chargers back in 2018. I don't think he loses that game this time. I think Baltimore is going to have the extra week to rest, and I think that they'll be ready for Justin Herbert, who will have accomplished a lot if he's able to win a playoff game this year. I'm going to be honest. He will have accomplished a lot if he's able to beat Houston in that wild card game with how his playoff reputation is right now. And then we get the rematch of all rematches, the game that everyone has circled on their calendar, even if they're not a Bills or a Chiefs fan. Everyone is going to be watching for Allen and Mahomes. Is this the year? Is this the year that Buffalo takes out Kansas City in the playoffs? And I don't really see it happening. The unfortunate thing for Bills fans is until it happens, I have picked the Bills the last couple times that they have gone up against Mahomes in the playoffs, or just in the regular season in general, because I feel like they're due, and they haven't been able to get it done. And I'm kind of at that point where I'm going to need to see it to believe it. And I picked KC to beat Buffalo in the divisional round. It'll be a 2023 AFC Championship rematch in Baltimore. Moving on to the NFC. I think the NFC has a bit of a clear favorite, but that doesn't mean any of these teams can make a run. The NFC has always been a little bit more unpredictable, especially in the last decade. So let's see what happens in the NFC this year. This is the bracket that I have according to all my divisional predictions and how I have the season playing out. Tampa as the number 2 seed. They host Green Bay. Detroit is the 3 seed. They'll play San Francisco. And then the Rams will get the 4 seed again. Only this time they'll be playing Washington. And speaking of that game, I think that's going to be a really, really fun game. Especially considering it could be the end of the line for Matt Stafford. And to see Matt Stafford, a guy who has a lot of experience in the NFL, has been in the NFL for a long time, go up against a young guy like Jaden Daniels. I think that would be super cool to go out and watch. I think that the Commanders are able to go out and beat the Rams. They'll be prepared to go to SoFi and take out Los Angeles. So I feel pretty confident in Washington getting another playoff win this year. Then we move down the wild card weekend list. It's Detroit and San Francisco. And I think that the Niners are a team that I feel confident will do well in the regular season because they have the easiest schedule in the league this year. I don't think it's going to translate in the playoffs, and the Lions are able to get a nice win. They'll get back in the win column in the playoffs after a disappointment last year. And then going to Tampa to watch Tampa Bay and Green Bay, I think Baker Mayfield and that offense is going to be clicking. I think that defense under Todd Bowles is going to be ready for whatever Matt LaFleur throws at them. And I have the Bucs taking out Green Bay. And so the divisional round is set. We get an NFC Championship rematch in Philadelphia between the Commanders and Eagles. And we'll get a 2023 divisional round rematch between the Lions and Buccaneers. Only this time, it's in Tampa Bay and not Detroit. Now, as it comes to what I think is going to happen here, it's interesting. Can Washington, especially with the fact that Washington and Philly are going to play twice in the final 3 weeks of the season, having another 2 weeks in between their Week 18 game and their divisional round game, will Washington finally find a way to beat Philly on the road? I don't think so. I think the Eagles will be rested. I think that team is really, really good and really complete. I think they'll find their own and find their stride by the end of the year, and they'll take out Washington to get back to the NFC Championship and host it again in 2025. And then when it comes to Detroit and Tampa, this is going to be a really fun game to watch if this is what ends up being the matchup. But with the fact that I have Tampa winning in the regular season at Detroit and then Tampa now getting this game at home, I have a feeling that Tampa's going to go ahead and pick up another win against the Lions. I don't know if I feel super confident in a lot of first-year coaching staff members in Detroit to get more than one playoff win this year. And I think this is the year that Baker Mayfield puts it together after a couple of playoff wins in a couple of years, a couple nice runs. I think that the Bucs will be able to get to the NFC Championship this year and return. And so that sets up the NFC Championship being Tampa and Philadelphia. Whoop! I have moved down on your screen now to talk about the Final Four in the NFL this year. Kansas City and Baltimore in the AFC Championship, just the second time that Patrick Mahomes has to play on the road in the AFC Championship game. Once again, having to go to Baltimore. And then Tampa Bay and Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game. I think that would be a really compelling matchup. Both games would be pretty tough to call, in my opinion. I think these are 4 really complete football teams, and any one of these teams could go on to win their respective championship game. We'll start in the AFC. when you get to this point, Patrick Mahomes has never missed the AFC Championship as a starter. Never. He gets back there yet again this year, as what I'm predicting, and it's going to be against Baltimore again. The vice of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen has been beating Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Those two quarterbacks have not been able to do it. All of the marbles and a lot of legacy rides on this game. Does Patrick Mahomes continue his AFC dominance, or do we see a new team arise in the AFC and a new star quarterback finally get to play in the Super Bowl? Unfortunately, until I see it happen, I will not be picking against the Chiefs. Until I see it happen. Unfortunately for the rest of the league. For the rest of the league, it is groans across the country. But I genuinely think that until I see Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, I'm going to continue to pick them. Because I've continued to pick these other quarterbacks against Mahomes in the playoffs the last couple of years, and I'm getting a little sick and tired of seeing them lose when I pick them to win. And so I'm kind of at a point where until they beat them and they prove me wrong and they show me that they can beat Kansas City in the playoffs, I'm going to keep taking the Chiefs from here on out. So I got the Chiefs winning the AFC again, to the chagrin of America, if you will, right? And then in the NFC, oh man, you can see it now. You can see it now. There's a chance for another rematch. I mean, at this point, if KC wins the AFC with Tampa and Philly playing in the NFC Championship game, we're getting a Super Bowl rematch anyways. But do the Eagles make it 3 out of the last 4 years? It becomes Chiefs-Eagles. Yeah. I think it is. I think Philly's the most complete team in the NFC. I really feel that Tampa, despite playing really well this season, I think they're able to squeak out a win against Detroit. I don't think they're going to be able to go into Philadelphia and grab a win against the Eagles. And I think it's Philly and KC in the Super Bowl again. And so in Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara, it is the Chiefs and Eagles for a second consecutive season and the third time in 4 years. I know it's a boring pick. I know it would be very frustrating to a lot of America to see the same matchup not only twice in a row, but again, 3 times in the last 4 years. And the only time that it wasn't this matchup, KC was still involved. But again, until someone in the AFC can beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, I'm not going to pick against KC again, because it is getting to a point where I've picked against them for like 3 years in a row now. I can't keep doing it. Anyways, when it comes to this game, we'll obviously get a preview of this in week 2 when KC plays at home against the Eagles in that Super Bowl rematch from last year, and would inevitably be a Super Bowl preview for this year, according to my predictions. I think the big question for Kansas City would be, can they respond? And if something goes wrong in week 2 and they lose, can they find a way to maximize and punish Philly's weaknesses? Because Philadelphia for sure did that against Kansas City in Super Bowl 59. Holy cow. That game wasn't even close. But at the end of the day, I feel like Kansas City it is just right now written that they ride through the AFC every year. And I think, again, it's Philadelphia that rides through Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Beats them again for a second straight year and becomes Super Bowl 60 champions. You can book it right now. Forgive me for taking a safe pick. The Philadelphia Eagles win Super Bowl 60. By no means is this the outcome that I guess, want to have happen. If there's one outcome that I want to have happen, it's definitely not this. there are 31 other teams to win the Super Bowl this year. I would rather not see a repeat. But when it comes to the NFL and what I saw last year and just thinking about it this year, I find a really hard time betting on teams that aren't named the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles right now. I am having a really, really hard time. And so I go with this boring Super Bowl pick and I guess a boring Super Bowl champion pick. But I've had some emotional picks and I've made some picks based on feel and who I want to win the Super Bowl. And they've never panned out. And if we've learned anything from the NFL in the last half decade, whoever you want to win the Super Bowl going into the season, the underdog story, it ain't happening. Unfortunately. The top dogs are going to be back there again. And that's where I think that we're headed this year. So, Philly wins Super Bowl 60. Well, so there you have it, America. Who do you think wins Super Bowl 60? Is it chalk and boring as Kansas City, Philadelphia in the Super Bowl again this year? Or is it something a little bit more interesting and exciting and more enjoyable for non-Chiefs Eagles fans to watch in something like Buffalo, Detroit, or Baltimore, Washington? Is something like that going to happen this year? Or are we going to be seeing the same 3-4 teams in the conversation of Super Bowl appearances again this year? Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit subscribe if you really liked it. And I will see you all in the next video. Enjoy, please enjoy the 2025 NFL season. I'm so happy the NFL is back. But also, enjoy your college football Saturday tomorrow. Should be fun. Have a good one, everyone.